subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello, good morning. Now we'll today discuss optical instruments, and before that I shall try to give you a brief introduction to the human eye. As you all know, the human eye is perhaps the most sensitive organ. Now, eye basically is a spherical chamber which is of the order of about 2 to 3 centimeters in diameter. It is hard, opaque chamber called sclerotic. The front portion of the chamber, spherical chamber, is slightly bulged outwards and it is transparent. It is called cornea. Just behind cornea, we have an important part of the eye, the lens. The lens is made of organic substance. It is crystalline in nature. It is placed suspended by means of what are called, suspensory ligaments and ciliary muscles. Suspensory ligaments and ciliary muscles. The white portion that we see in our eye in front of it, is cornea. It is transparent, as I have told you earlier. Now, the brownish circular patch is iris, at the center of which there is a small aperture hole. That is pupil. The size of the pupil can be varied. It becomes wide in dark, very narrow in bright region. Now, in front of the lens and cornea, in between these two, the anterior chamber, we have aqueous humor, a watery fluid. It's more or less tears. And behind this lens, the entire space is filled with another liquid, vitreous humor. And from every point of the inner surface of the sclerotic spherical chamber, a nerve starts off and ends up here like that. Now, the nerve starts, as I have told you, from every point here, and every point here like that ends up like this. Now, these ends, nerve ends, are of two types, rods and cones. Now, these act as photoelectric cells. That is, they convert light into electrical energy, and that information is transmitted through the nerve to the brain. Now, this is briefly the structure of the eye. The entire inner surface, it is a network of nerves. That is called retina. The portion of the retina behind the lens is fovea, which is most sensitive to light. And the nerves go out of the chamber, here, like that. Now, so far as our concern is concerned, here we speak of the power of accommodation. Of the eye lens. Now that means, see here, if you remember the lens maker's formula, the focal length depends on the material and radius of curvature. See, like this. Now this is fixed, R1 is fixed for my eye lens, Once I construct the lens, R1, R2 and the material is fixed. And here you remember, if you keep the object at infinity, the image is here. If you keep the object here, the image is here, and so on like this. So here U changes, object distance changes, image distance changes, so that this is constant. But this cannot happen here. Now we see objects situated very close to the eye, objects situated very far away from the eye. Still, the image is formed always here on the retina. In other words, see, for the eye, this is fixed. This is fixed. Now this is object distance. Think of a book, think of a distant mountain. So we see near objects, far object, that means this is variable. Therefore, in order to get the image always on the retina, this must be variable. This must be variable. Now how is it possible? Now that is possible by changing the focal length. How do we change the focal length? By changing R1, R2. See here, this has a different radius. So the focal length changes. So that is made possible by this power of accommodation. Now you have the lens here like this, let's suppose. You have the muscles here. Remember, muscles are elastic. If they stretch like this, the lens becomes like this. If they compress like this, the lens becomes like this. Now this capacity of the eye lens is called power of accommodation. So it is the ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length so that the image of an object at any distance from the eye is always formed on the retina. So this is an important capacity, the power of accommodation. Now that is made possible by the help of optic nerves, ciliary muscles. Now with the result, see, you can't stretch the eye lens too far. You cannot also compress the eye lens too much. With the result, see, we have what is called near point. The nearest point at which the object is most clearly seen. Now, for normal eye, healthy eye, it is about 25 centimeters. It's about 25 centimeters. Then we have far point. It is the point beyond which objects are not seen clearly. For the normal eye, the far point is at infinity. The far point is at infinity. Now it means if you have the eye, let's suppose roughly like this, you have the lens like this, let's suppose. Now this point is near point, it's about 25 centimeters. And this point is far point. Now this is about infinity. Now this is the range of vision. In other words, you can see objects here, everywhere between those 2 points very clearly, but you can't see this here beyond that. So that is one point. So that is because the eye lens cannot change the shape like this. Now, if it is not possible for the eye, see, we have what are called, no, see, our eye, if it is normal, it can see objects up to 25 centimeters, up to infinity. Infinity here means a long distance. The distance compared to the size of the eye, if it is very large, maybe 200, 300 meters, that is infinity. So that is a different definition here. Now here, if we can't see distant object, if you see only distant objects, we have the defect. See, the eye is able to see only objects at short distances. The image is formed on the retina. Therefore, this object is visible. So that is the short sight. It is not defect here. Now that is the merit that we have, the ability that we have. We are able to see objects at short distances. Now we have sight of objects at short distances. But if you try to see a distant object, distant object means, see, it is at a considerable distance from the eye. The light rays from the object, by the time they reach the eye, the rays become parallel. Now this is a convex lens, remember. Now the muscles work, try to adjust the focal length, but it can't do that. The image is formed, see here, is not formed on the retina. Therefore we don't see that. So image is in front of retina. So when we don't have light falling on retina, now the light energy is not converted into electrical and is not transmitted to the brain. Therefore we don't recognize this at all. Now this is the defect. So short sight, the eye is not able to see distant objects. Now that can be corrected, remedied, or the short sight can be overcome by using a concave lens of suitable focal length used along with the eye lens. So there is a lens combination here. The two together act as one lens. Now rays from distant object first get diverged here a little, fall onto the eye lens and brought, say this image brought onto the retina, enabling to see the distant object. So that is how we overcome the defect short sight. Now, we have another common type of defect of vision, the long sight. Now here, the eye suffering from long sight, see, is able to see distant objects. Able to see distant objects. Rays from distant object become parallel by the time they reach the eye lens, get converged onto the retina here. Image on retina. So we have the perception of the distant object. If we keep the object at short distance within the near point, the diverging rays, the eye lens tries to adjust its focal length as much as possible, still it is not able to form the image on the retina. So the image is formed behind retina. So we don't see close objects, short sighted, short distant objects. Now this defect can be overcome using, along with the eye, a convex lens of suitable focal length, so that an object at close distance, see light from the object at close distance, first gets diverged a little by the external lens, and these rays falling on the eye lens are focused on the retina. So the image is brought, let us suppose, from here onto the retina, from here onto the retina. So the image is on the retina, so that this object is very clearly seen. Now these are two very common defects of vision. I have explained what this is. See, apart from this, if the eye is normal, we can see both close objects and far off objects. If one is able to see only short distant object, not able to see distant objects, we have the defect short sight. If one is not able to see objects at close distance, we have the defect long sight. Hello. See, our normal eye, even if the eye is normal, it cannot see very small objects like the air around us we can't see. And similarly, see, we can't see distant objects, far off objects. Let's suppose the surface of a moon we can't clearly see. So this limitation of the eye is overcome with the aid of, with the assistance of some optical systems. So optical devices, basically made of lenses and mirrors, which are able to, which assist the eye, our eye, to see very small objects of the order of, few micrometers, nanometers, maybe atom, molecule, etc. like that. And a distant object may be the surfaces of planets, etc. like that. They are called optical instruments. Now, we will consider here briefly the microscope, which is able to see very small objects indeed, and telescopes, instruments which can see distant objects. Now, we will here consider the simplest of them, the simple microscope. It's also called reading lens. Simple microscope basically consists of a convex lens, usually put in a frame It's a very short focal, generally it will be of short focal length. Now remember, you have the principal axis, the optic center, like that, the focus. So here on either side. Now I keep an object, let's suppose, small object indeed, a small object to be seen, magnified, enlarged between the focus, principal focus and the lens. Now light rays from the object go in all directions, and those rays which fall on the lens get converged because this is a converging lens. A ray passing through optic center goes straight like this, and a ray parallel to the axis passes through F after refraction. Now I shall not, it shows, it indicates that it passes through F. I will not go beyond that. So these are rays coming out of the lens. These are observed, they are divergent, they have become further divergent, but they don't meet here beyond the lens. If I produce them back, here, see, like this. Now the rays meet here. So this is the image of B. The image of A is like this. So what was this? What was this? Seen through, see, you are seen through the eye. See, appears like this. Now if you had seen only this, through your eye, you would not have seen it very clearly, but it is possible to see here clearly. Now we adjust this distance between moving the lens away from the object or towards the object, so that this image is formed what we call at the near point or least distance of distinct vision. This is actually V, which is equal to D. Now this is very simple in construction. Now we have to see how much magnification is produced here. Now magnification, see, can be derived, expression can be derived. It is, for any lens, this is the relation. 1 over f equals 1 over v minus 1 over u. Now here, see, we have formed the image. Instead, I will multiply throughout by, let us say, v. V by f, 1 over v is 1 minus v over u. Now this by definition, v over u is defined as magnification. It is expression for the magnification. Now therefore, so v over f is 1 minus m. And also, see, we have adjusted the image to be formed at the distance of distinct vision. Now observe that we are measuring like this, opposite to the direction applied, so that it is minus d here. So minus d upon f is equal to 1 minus m. That is, m is the magnification rearranging 1 plus d over f. D over f. Now if you observe that expression, see, we know that d is around 25. Now usually the simple microscope lenses, the reading lens would be of the order of 5 to 6 centimeters. So that magnification is See here, if you work it out, it is 1 plus 25 by 5, see around 5 to 6. That's not very great. But for the purpose of reading small printed letters, now that is possible. Now to achieve greater magnification, we go on to compound microscope. Now compound microscope looks like this. Again, a convex lens, principal axis, optic center, principal focus, principal focus. Now this lens is called objective. Of short focal length. Short focal length. So it is, this distance is very small. Now because I refer these points to this objective, I denote FO, principal focus of the objective, first focal point, second focal point, like that. I keep the object to be seen, very close to, just beyond the principal focus. Now observe that the object is very small, very, very small. This is AB, let's say. A ray passing through optic center, goes like this, goes straight. A ray parallel to the axis, passes through F. It goes like this. Now the two rays, this and this, after refraction here in the objective lens, see, objective lens meet here. Therefore, this is the image of the point B. I'll call it M1. Because I have placed the object at right angles, I draw perpendicular. So this is image I1M1 of the object AB formed by the objective lens. Now this becomes object. So after all, rays start from M. Remember, these are the rays going out. I keep a lens like this. Now this is called eyepiece. See, because it is closer to the eye, nearer to the eye, because this is nearer to the objective, nearer to the eye, eyepiece. Now once again, I do not know how to write these rays after they come out, but I know this ray passing through optic center goes straight. See, there are several rays, remember. I have taken only these two. Similarly, there are several rays going from this point. I take that ray which passes through the optic center. Another ray parallel to the axis, like this. So if this is the focal point of the eyepiece, I adjust this distance, see here, such that the image I1M1 is within this FE. So therefore, I consider these rays. So at the same distance you have focal point here. I will not retain this. For the time being, I will keep it here. Now this ray goes like this, goes through FE. See, I know the path of light going through optic center straight, path of light parallel to the axis passing through FE. They do not meet on the other side of the lens. Therefore, I produce them back. See here, like this. Now this is where image of this object, see what was image for this lens has now become object for this lens. Now this will produce the image of this here. Now this is I2 M2, the final image. Now here this distance I adjust. See, usually it doesn't look like this. If you go to a laboratory and see the microscope, see, you don't see anything except a tube like this, Now this is how a microscope looks like. See, this is eye lens, this eyepiece coaxially mounted in a cylindrical tube. Now this is a screw here. You can vary the distance between them. So I vary this distance and bring the object, say the image I1 M1, which is now the object for this, within this, and then adjust this distance so that the final image is formed at a distance what we call the distance of least distance of distinct vision. So this is how it works. Observe here the size of the object, the size of the image. So it is magnified much more, say many more times than the size of the object. We will derive an expression for the magnification. Now observe that this distance between the object and the objective, we will call it UO. Distance between the objective and its image, corresponding image, VO. Subscripts O correspond to the lens objective. Now this distance I1E, it is object distance for the eyepiece, and this distance between the eye lens and the final image distance, which is now the distance of distinct vision. We will obtain an expression for the magnification. Produced by a compound microscope. Now we can, magnification by definition is size of the image over size of the object. Now here this is done in two stages. This object is magnified here maybe 2-3 times, and this is further magnified here. Therefore, I can write this as magnification of the entire, say, instrument produced by the instrument is magnification produced by the objective multiplied by the magnification produced by the eyepiece. Magnification produced by the objective is, see, size of the image, size of the object for the entire instrument. Now I will multiply by I1 M1 and divide by I1 M1. Now observe, this is size of the image with respect to the eye lens, size of the object with respect to the lens. Therefore, this is magnification produced by the eyepiece. And this is size of the image with respect to the objective, size of the object with respect to the objective. Therefore, magnification produced by the objective. Now, since see, eyepiece serves as or acts as simple microscope. See, M is 1 plus DFE. Therefore, M is 1 plus D by FE and MO is see VO by UO. Now VO is nearly F here, and UO. VO is almost equal to the length of the microscope, but we'll keep as it is here. So the magnification is VO by UO into 1 plus D over FE